Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. My name is Carmen and today I am going to be sharing with you some of my favorite plants for the month of July. Yes, I know we're already into August a little bit. I'm a little late on it. I had some problems, some issues with my teeth, but I'm better now and I'm ready to film. So, better late than never. I'm going to be sharing with you some plants, and actually the theme of this one is that they're all from the patio. All of these plants live out of my patio outside in Central Florida. Weather, heat, humidity right now, but they are a mix of tropical succulents and cacti. So this should be interesting, okay? Let's get to it. You want to get your coffee too, okay?
First, I want to thank Atlas Coffee Club for sponsoring today's video. You all know how I love my coffee. Being Cuban, I was raised on good coffee, whether it's espresso, and then later in my adult life, American style coffee. They are a coffee subscription service that curates the top 1% of the world's best coffee, roasted and ground to your preference and delivered fresh to your door. So you like your grounds dark, you'll get it dark. You want pods instead of ground coffee, that's what you can get. Each month you'll receive a single origin 100% Arabica coffee from a new country, postcard from that country that details where the coffee is sourced, and an info card detailing the country's history, tasting notes of the beans, and context about what makes this coffee unique. They pay above fair trade prices for all of the coffee and focus on the sustainability impacts of the products and local farming practices too. Now, they want everyone to enjoy specialty coffee and strive to maintain one of the most approachable price points. If you're interested in trying them out, I think that you'll love them as much as I do. I have a discount code of Carmen Whitehead, and that will give you 50% off your first bag of coffee. So just go to the link that's in the description box and use code Carmen Whitehead to get your subscription started and receive 50% off your first bag of coffee. Enjoy.
I am going to be doing all of these plants from the patio. I try to, come up with some type of theme for each month's favorites, some type of thing that connects them all. And this one, when I was looking for my plants, I noticed that I kept coming back out to the patio. So that's what I decided to do. All of these live out on the patio and they've been showing amazing growth. Some of them really surprisingly, because I only have one tropical plant on my list and everything else is succulents. And so let's start with the first one, which is kind of unusual, but let me explain. So here's the first one.
What is that? What is that?
I know. Okay, let me explain. If you've been with my channel for a while, you recognize this as my aloe partridge breast that I brought from Arizona. I've had for a long, long time, and it was getting really big. It was getting so big that I had to chop it right here because it was getting so top heavy. Look at this growth here. It actually has split into two separate growths here. Look at that. It's kind of forked off there. And it also has many pups growing here. So I decided to chop it off right here. This is the main growth. This is the main plant. Here's the stem over here. So what will happen here is I did this about 3 days ago. So it's starting to harden off and I'll be able to plant this in some dry succulent mix and let that take root, and I'll have a whole other plant. But I've already got this pot, and it's heavy, full with pups, and the main stem here will start giving off growth from this main stem right here. It's very thick, very big, and it will give off some growth. Let me show you kind of the concept. That's what's going to happen with this other one. Now, this is an Echeveria, but it's the same concept. So I have this Echeveria right here that was getting very lanky, and I cut the stem, let it harden off, and I popped it back in the soil. It has since taken root, and it's growing, but look what happened. Let me see if I can turn it this way. To the stem, it gave off all of these rosettes. So that's what's going to happen to this stem on the aloe. It's going to give off not rosettes, but growth and pups of the aloe partridge breasts, very similar to how it's giving off pups here, and these, they'll start growing on this. So that's what happens to Echeverias and aloes when you cut them like that on a longer stem. They give off these pups. Isn't this cool? I mean, you can barely even see the stem now. And this is a Neon Breakers, which is also giving off a pup right here. But this is basically what I want to happen with this aloe partridge breast. This one will go, I won't put it back in the same one because it's just too big. I'll give it its own pot. It'll grow in that, and then this one will continue to grow. The pups will continue to get bigger, and the stem here will give off pups also. So that's really exciting. And
That's amazing!
this I've had for going on 4 or 5 years now. I got it as just a little guy in a little 4-inch pot, and it grew until now. This is really the first big chop I've had to make on it because it just got so top heavy, and it split off into two that I realized now, you know, it's time for me to give it a good chop and separate it. So the aloe partridge breast is my first plant. Now the next two are Sansevierias. Yes, I still call them Sansevierias. I know they've been reclassified to Dracaena, but I am holding firm. I'm going to keep calling them Sansevierias. Okay, it's the rebel in me. Okay, so this first one here is part of my original one that I had left in Arizona with my mom. She sent me cuttings of that one, and you can see where the difference is. This is the one, the leaves that came from Arizona, and these are the ones that have grown since being here, these much lighter ones, because this plant does get direct early morning sun in this east facing patio here. So you can see how well it does here with that direct sun. Not for very long, and it's not very harsh. It's still early enough where it's not very harsh, so it's not burned, but it's enough to keep this Sansevieria moonlight or moonshine, you know, with the lighter color as opposed to the darker leaf color. The darker leaf color was when it was in Arizona, not getting the light that it needed, but since potting up here and the roots taking hold, growing roots, and it's grown all of these new leaves in these two cuttings here, and look how beautiful the true color of it is. Sansevieria moonshine. Love it. Now another Sansevieria, this one also came from Arizona. This one was sent to me by my mom also after I got here. This is my Sansevieria cylindrica starfish. And look at this. It's getting a lot of new growth right in here, right in the center there. So it's doing really well. It was a little bit kind of wrinkly and skinny, but it's really plumping up. It's getting new growth. And this new growth here, it does come in open like that, and then as it grows, it closes off into the cylindrical shape that it has in the starfish shape that it gets. But this has just been this summer that it's getting all these new leaves on it. And I just think it's so cool the way that it comes in open and then it closes as it gets bigger. So, you know, you can miss it if you don't keep an eye on it, you know, because it just can, you know, one day be open and the next day be closed. So this Sansevieria starfish is one of my favorites, again, that came from California. This also is right next to the moonlight or moonshine. And it also gets direct morning light, which it seems to be loving that. It seems to be really happy with that. So that's what it's going to continue to get. So I had to turn the camera off to bring this one over. You all remember this one. This is my Euphorbia lactea white ghost. I brought this one myself from Arizona in the drive, and look how much it has grown. Right at the top there you see the little white leaves on the spines there. That means it's an active growth there, and it's just doing so well. These are all new arms that it has gotten this past summer. I'm gonna have to put some type of stake or something in it because I can see that it's starting to lean a little bit, and it's maintaining its white ghost for the most part. It does have one little section down here that when you can see the darker green, when I had it in Arizona and it wasn't getting as much light as it should, it came out green. But then when I got it here and it started getting lots of early morning light, direct light, you can see the growth all of a sudden turned white. So this plant really does depend on direct sun to maintain this beautiful color. I mean, you know, if you want it to go green, you know, that's fine, you do you, boo. But I love the variation of it, the lightness of it, with just little touches of green every now and then, and it's just beautiful. It's really getting tall. I'm debating whether to cut it, propagate it like I did my other euphorbias, but I'm thinking I want to see exactly how big this baby can get, and maybe just get a nice long pole to attach it to give it some support, because you can see it's a little wobbly.
Well, I am a little wobbly today.
I mean, it's in a safe, secure area up against the wall on a shelf. It's not going anywhere, but I really want to protect it and just see how big it can get. So I think that may be the next step I take on it, is securing it with a pole. The aloe, the two Sansevierias, and this euphorbia, I pretty much wait till they are dry before I water them. And right now it's been so hot, even with the humidity, it's just been so hot that they, in the summertime now, I'm watering them about once a week, really. And that seems to be doing fine. I have them in these terracotta pots, so they do dry out a little bit quicker than ceramic. And that seems to help to avoid any root rot. But I just wait till they're dry. I do use a moisture meter just to check. I poke 2 or 3 areas in the pot, and if I get consistent 2 out of 3 readings that it's dry, I go ahead and water it. Sometimes I can tell by just the look of the soil, or even if I pick it up, I've had the plants long, I can tell it's very light, it's thirsty, and I'll go ahead and water it without the moisture meter. But you know, I still depend on that moisture meter to ensure that the plant is dry and ready for water.
Yeah, just one more thing.
Okay, so I have one tropical plant out there that I want to share with you. You'll remember this alocasia I'm still not 100% sure what type of alocasia this is. I think it may be a Regal Shield, but I think the stems are a little too light for that. But the pot it came in, the little, I think it was a 5-inch pot. I got it for $6.97 at Walmart. Just said alocasia, didn't say anything else. It has given off this leaf right here, that one right there, or actually it's this one right here. This is the newest leaf, and it's giving off another one right there, and another one down at the bottom. Now these here, I did a under planting here because I had seen in the big box stores so many of the taller plants have some type of pothos planted at the base. So I figured I'd try that. These are actually cuttings from a reverted mandula. And once that got some roots, I didn't want to put it back in the pot with the regular mandula because that's already started growing variegated leaves again. I decided to put it in this one. So these are, it's a reverted mandula that it's growing down at the bottom here. And it seems to be loving it because it's given off 3 leaves, or 2.5, since I put it in here. And like I said, it's got a little leaf growing there, this in alocasia, and then one right here. And this one I just have right by the door, so it gets some early morning sun. And it's in a nursery pot inside of a cover pot, and it seems to be doing great. These were sold in the perennial outdoor plant section of Walmart, which here in Florida, Central Florida, these are found outdoors. You know, I could plant this in the yard if I wanted to, but I don't. One, because we have a rental and I don't want to dig it back up once we do move. So I could if I wanted to, but I'd much rather enjoy it in this pot here, this alocasia. If you know the specific name of this, is if it's just some type of hybrid, or if it is actually a Regal Shield, it doesn't have, you know, the real dark burgundy underneath, although you can see burgundy veining. I don't know, maybe it's just a juvenile version of it, but either way, I love it. This is, you know, an alocasia that for me has been really easy because I walk by it every single day, numerous times a day, you know, letting the dogs out and everything. And I just check it once a week with the moisture meter to see if it needs water. And I water it when it's almost the top 50% is completely dry. I don't let it go completely dry, but the top 50% is almost in the red section of the moisture meter, then I'll water it. And I have switched over to using as much rainwater as I absolutely can, which means, you know, I'm dependent upon the weather and collecting that and everything. But I had so many of you reach out to me and tell me about the video of Sheffield Plants in England, that he uses a water conditioner that is mainly used for fish tanks to condition his tap water. And so I started looking it up, and my daughter Kristen, when we lived in Arizona, kept a couple of fish tanks. I'm like, you know, I bet you anything, because she brought all her equipment. We don't have fish now, but she has all her equipment. I bet you she has it. So I start digging around in the garage in her boxes of equipment and stuff, and sure enough, I found a bottle full of the API Stress Coat, which is the exact same product that he uses. So I started using that. When I do have to use tap water, I will, you know, put a little bit of that in there to condition the water and take care of all the minerals and chlorine and whatever the heck else the state puts in there. And, you know, we'll see if that helps, because the water, it has changed in the last several months. They're putting something different in it as far as the tap water, because, you know, my plants were really feeling it. So thanks so much for that information. I appreciate it, and I'll keep you updated on how that particular water conditioner is working out for me. But I was so happy that I didn't have to buy it. I already had it and I didn't even know it. So there you go. Well, there you go, friends. I hope you enjoyed this little get-together and my sharing my plants with you of those plants for the month of July that were out on my patio and were really just growing like crazy. You know, I've said it before, I'm still just so surprised at how well my succulents and cacti are doing here in the Florida humidity. I have a few tropical plants out there and, you know, they're doing great too, but I'm not surprised at that because they're tropical and they love the humidity. But the growth on my cacti and succulents is really incredible. I will keep you updated on this aloe partridge breast. And I'll probably do a short on how I pot this up and keep you updated on the growth on it. But I'm really excited about that. I'm so happy that after 4 or 5 years of having it, I'm able to, you know, propagate it and put it into a second pot also. Thank you, friends. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate that so very much. I will see you in the next video, okay? Rosie, I think, wants out. I'll go let her out. Well, that's Georgie. And I'll see you in the next video, friends. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye now.